Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
So just yesterday, my best friend sent me a picture of the two of us together. This was years ago, probably 15 years ago. And it just made me so happy because it was such a happy memory. And photography to me means preserving memories. I'm pretty ruthless about curating what photos I keep because if it's not something I'm going to want to look back at later, I don't care to keep it. But when you have photos that call up really vivid memories of things, they may not all be happy, but vivid memories of things that you want to remember. That's what photography means to me. Now, I'm not a great photographer. If I were a great photographer, photography might be a little bit more wrapped up in beauty, because I definitely buy the work of others, and their photos are beautiful and can be appreciated, memory or not, because they're gorgeous pieces of art. My photos are not like that. So, yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Celeste Headlee. I'm saying your name correct? Celeste Headlee?
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, Shooting It Raw. And over the next hour, I'm going to essentially learn from you. We're going to the School of Celeste, and I'm in class. So I'm really curious to hear you out. Thank you for your patience. We had a bit of hiccups with scheduling. I'm 13 hours ahead, I believe.
It's 10 a.m. right now. I'm just outside DC.
Okay. So I'm in Hong Kong. So look, should we jump into your first image? I have no idea what it is, and I'm really looking. It's basically you're taking me on a kind of journey, and the listeners as well. This is great. So what I
don't know which one
is,
came to you first. Which one do you have as the first one?
It's the amygdala.
The amygdala.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the amygdala, obviously really important part of our brains. It is the oldest evolutionary part of your brain. It's like this little almond-shaped nugget right at the top of your spine, buried deep inside the brain, right? Because the way the brain evolves is that the very interior of it is the oldest part, and all the outer folds get newer and newer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's inside the cerebral hemisphere. It's an emotional part of your brain. That's not surprising. We are emotional and social thinkers. But the reason that this is really important to me is because the amygdala, there's so much left in the amygdala that is remnants of the species we used to be that is no longer helpful.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the amygdala tends to see everything through threat and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly reacting as though it were under attack. That was probably super important when we were predated on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not important anymore. And you get these amygdala hijacks where you get this overwhelming emotional response. Now, it would be great if those were rare, but what has happened now is we have gotten to a space where we have started to view not other races as threats, and other religions as threats, but even other political parties as threats, meaning that we are having these amygdala reactions, these fear of assault and attack and fear freeze reactions to even an opposing political opinion.
Right.
And that's why I put it in here, because it's everywhere.
Okay. Good morning. Okay. So just for the listeners, because the podcast is ridiculous in the sense that we respond to images and theater of the mind. I kind of have to give some kind of anchor. Basically it's more of a diagram, or it's a diagram of a brain by itself. It's kind of like, imagine
looking from
a brain
the bottom up.
Yeah, that's been sliced, right?
Yeah.
And it's basically a graphic, and the brain is in gray and white and black, And then it's got these two, as you described, almond shapes that are highlighted in yellow. And beneath that are these kind of other smaller shapes in very bright green. And underneath that, there's a text which has the amygdala, two almond shaped areas hugging the center of the brain near the front, tends to become active when people dig in their heels about a political belief. Photo courtesy of USC Dorn Seif's Brain and Creativity Institute. Celeste, who are you and what are we doing? Like what? So as a person who has dealt with anxiety and I'm a human being living in the world today because of COVID, because of life, because of all that stuff, of course, and somebody who's aware of this kind of research and fascinated by neuroscience and brain cognition, all that business, fight or flight. Why are we starting so strongly? So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.